All right, well, let's get started. It looks like we had a few more trickle in, so we'll just let them join us, and that's kind of the beauty of Zoom. People can join us when they're ready, and we are also recording. So I want to welcome everyone to the first of hopefully many to come speaker series for the kinesiology department at Tulane in the School of Professional Advancement. My name is Tyra Mitchell. I'm a professor of practice in kinesiology. And I'm a physical therapist by background. I'll be your moderator today. We have a fantastic panel of diverse experts here. We have Megan Byas, we have October Ambrose, Randy Hernandez, and Victoria McDowell. And just to get started, I would like to kind of have you guys introduce yourselves to the students and the attendees that we have today. If you don't mind just giving us your name, your title, what organization that you currently work for or work with, and describe your academic preparation and on-the-job activities that have brought you to your current role. So we'll take a couple minutes with each, and I will ask Randy to go first.
Okay. So I'm a local kid. I'm a native New Orleanian. Went to high school here, Brother Martin, went to Tulane for undergraduate, graduated a long time ago in 1999 with a bachelor's in exercise and sports science, and then went to physical therapy school at the University of St. Augustine in St. Augustine, Florida, which was beautiful and right on the ocean. The only reason I came home is because of family, and I've been here ever since. I have advanced training in manual therapy. I have a manual therapy certification from the University of St. Augustine. I have my doctorate in physical therapy, just like Dr. Mitchell. I'm also a fellow in the American Academy of Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists, which is just a bunch of initials that makes me look smarter than what I actually am. And I currently practice in an outpatient orthopedic clinic over in Metairie, Louisiana. I've been the clinical director there for 18 years. And I'm also a CI for many physical therapy students over the year. Do you want me to go with what a typical practice day or not yet? Okay,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
I think that sums it up.
Can you clarify what a CI is?
Sure. So a clinical instructor. So when you get into physical therapy school, you have to do rotations in different settings. So kind of like residency in medical school, you have a similar thing in physical therapy school where the students will have to go into different settings. And I basically decide if you pass or fail. So it's important that you're really watching what you do. That's what's great about that experience is that it causes me to brush up on learning, because in any profession, I think over time we can kind of become a little stagnant. But when I have a student and they actually ask me questions, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really have to know this stuff. So it causes me to kind of reflect and brush up on things that I need to take advantage of. So I really enjoy that part as well. I enjoy teaching. So that's a really nice part of my job.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Randy. Mm-hmm. Next, Megan, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Megan Byas. I am originally from Dallas, Texas. I came here in 2011, so almost 10 years now. I've been here in New Orleans, so I'm just waiting on my official adoption to go through. But I went to Loyola for undergrad and got my degree in marketing, actually. And then I actually got started in campus recreation as a personal trainer, as a student trainer. And that was my kind of spark moment that got me going in campus recreation. There's a lot of ties in actually with campus recreation. I actually met my husband in intramurals one year with campus recreation. So there's a lot of sentimental ties to campus recreation, more than just career, but I definitely sparked an interest with campus recreation, graduated, went into marketing, hated it. So I went back to campus recreation, where I actually fell in love with fitness as a fitness coordinator and knowing exactly what I wanted to do from that point on. And then I went to work at Dillard after working at Loyola for a few years as a fitness coordinator. And then I was at Dillard for about a few years, 3 years to be exact. And then I came here as Tulane's new assistant director of fitness and wellness. I have a master's from Texas A&M Commerce in health promotion, kinesiology, and sports studies. So my background is definitely focused in recreation and fitness. I definitely love working with special populations and doing what I can to kind of promote the importance of education and fitness. So, and long story short, yes, I love what I do, but
and that's amazing. I'm hearing how you had so many connections with intramural sports. And I think back to my experience, and I played intramural, but I did not have luck finding a husband there. I must have been playing the wrong sport on the wrong team. We'll have to talk later. All right, Victoria, do you mind going next and introducing yourself to the group?
Of course. My name's Victoria McDowell. I was born in Detroit, so I consider myself a Michigander at heart. Raised in Baton Rouge, but I've lived in New Orleans for 15 years. I moved to New Orleans 3 months before Katrina, so I always like to say I earned my stripes, so I am a New Orleanian. I am a physical therapist assistant, so I work under the direction of physical therapists like Randy. I currently work full-time with Ochsner Therapy and Wellness, mostly orthopedic patients in an outpatient setting, but I also do some PRN work in the home health setting and in a skilled nursing facility here in New Orleans. I earned my bachelor's degree at the University of New Orleans, and then I attended the physical therapist assistance program at Delgado, and I am also a Tulane SOPA graduate, so I received my master's in health and wellness management in 2019. Yes, and I am also a credentialed clinical instructor. So I've had some CI experience, as Randy has had.
Perfect. All right, last but not least, October.
Hello, I am October Ambrose. I am born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have lived here in New Orleans in December and made 5 years. I currently work for Ochsner Health, and I am the manager for the community health centers, which is a new endeavor for Ochsner. We are standing up within the next 3 years, I think 15 sites throughout the state of Louisiana in underserved and rural areas. So our first site is the Breeze Family Center in New Orleans East. And then another site in Howell in Baton Rouge just went live a couple of weeks ago. What I'm passionate about with this role is we're a little bit different. We don't call ourselves a clinic, though we provide clinical services. It's a more holistic approach to population health. So each of our sites will have primary care, women's services, and pediatrics, in addition to therapy or behavioral health intervention. We'll have some folks that assist with social determinants of health, like food insecurity. So a more holistic approach to wellness than just the medical pieces. My background by education, I have an associate's in human resources, undergrad in human resources management, and my master's is in human development, all from St. Mary's University of Minnesota. So I am a Midwestern woman, similar to Victoria. So my path has gone several directions. I started in human resources and have been in operations now for almost 5 years and wouldn't trade it.
Thank you. Wow, this is a really diverse panel. I love that you guys are coming from so many aspects of what can fall under kinesiology careers. Like many of our careers start out in kinesiology, and that's why we thought it would be great to pull you into this panel and to allow our students to really kind of see the different pathways from their degree programs that they're seeking out with us right now. So let's get into the deep questions now. Let's start with, well, let's go last goes first. So October, I'm gonna start with you. You're already warmed up.
All right.
What has helped you get to where you are in your career? And then after you kind of explore that a little bit, what advice would you have for others who want to set off in a similar direction?
I believe what has helped me to get where I'm at in my career is that I did not put any limits on myself. So I remained open. When I showed up, obviously having a human resources background and transitioning to operations, people would say like, what's your career path? You want to be a CHRO? And I was like, nope, want to be a COO. And they couldn't connect it, but I was like, no, I really like operations. Most of the organizations I worked at as I grew up in HR, I was really an operations leader with HR expertise. So it just helped me kind of tease out that I could easily shift to this. I understand my business and the departments and leaders that I support. So it was a super easy transition. Advice that I would give to others is try it all. I mean, sometimes you get so laser focused and narrow. I want to do X. When I started, my HR career started, I was actually accepted to a nursing program and changed my major after I took an elective. So had I been laser focused on that, not good or bad, I would have likely ended up a nurse, but wouldn't have explored the way I did. So I would say, try it all, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. Figure out what your passion is. So I absolutely appreciate the work I do in healthcare, and even more so now in the role I'm in. And each step has prepared me.
Right. Let's see, Megan, same question. What's helped you to get to where you are in your career? What advice would you share with our attendees?
Man, I'll be honest, October took my answer. She really did. She took my answer. I had it scripted and everything. It was going to be a whole spiel about being open-minded. I actually have a similar story. Like, I was always destined to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer as long as I could remember. Like, that was all I wanted to do up until senior year of college, where I decided that was not what I wanted to do. And it was only because I was open-minded in the process of being in college where I was able to explore certain passions and interests, again, going back to campus recreation, where it fueled a lot of, other interests that I had from childhood as well. So I've always been in sports. Basketball was always my thing. When I decided I didn't want to play with the team because I wanted to have an equal balance of school and extracurricular, I didn't want to solely dedicate my life to being a student athlete. Campus recreation was that perfect balance for me to be able to engage in sports, but then not take all of my experience and just make it solely about sports. So that was my way of kind of shaping my new perspective of what a career could look like for me, because I did what was something that brought happiness to me, not to sound cliche, but being in campus rec, working with people, helping them achieve their fitness goals, helping them to realize the importance of working out and understanding health at any age, whether it was at a collegiate age or whether it was a faculty member I was helping to, recover from a surgery. It was always rewarding for me. And I would always dread studying for the LSAT. So it was obvious to me after a while. And then even more so once I took the LSAT, I was like, this ain't it, and I was just like, this to me is not what's going to drive me at the end of the day. I was just chasing dollar signs, and I wasn't really chasing what I knew was something that would actually be rewarding and fulfilling for myself. And so I kind of dodged a bullet, and it took a while for me to really come to terms with whether or not that decision was correct. But when I got this job, that kind of solidified a lot for me, because this was always a goal of mine to come here and take Tulane's program and kind of make it my own, from watching next door. So it was definitely something that I'm glad I pursued. So yes, be open-minded, be willing to go a different path, but also be intentional still about that path and know exactly what it is that you want to do in terms of if you want to serve people, if you want to, be someone that works on a corporate level, if you want to be someone that works on the community level, have some sense of guidance in what you do want to do, but still be open, and so that's my key takeaway.
Very good. So be open, follow your passions, be, focused on what that might be. And then I would also say, and in my conversation or even in my self-evaluation, I'm always kind of looking out there what's next. So I think you guys kind of touched on all of those things. And I appreciate your fear of the LSAT, because I think I had the fear of the MCAT. But what I usually tell my students is use fear as your motivator. And it sounds like that's what you did.
I did. I still pursued it. So I can at least say I went that route. And then when I realized it was, it was not what I thought it was going to be, long story short, to be a lawyer, when I started to understand that it was just, it wasn't as glamorous, behind the scenes, it really changed a lot of things for me. And so I'm glad that I was able to get that wake up call after, taking it to that point and not my first year in law school. So.
Right. Yeah. All right, Randy, I'd love for you to answer the same question. Being a clinician, haven't really gone to that level of that, professional clinical doctorate. What's helped you to get to where you are in your career, and what advice do you have people that are maybe setting up for the same?
Yeah, so what's great is that when you have a group of people like it seems we have here today, they're going to say a lot of good stuff. So, where I got it was kind of interesting, because when I was coming out of high school, I knew that I wanted to do something that involved working with people. I was never the type of individual that was going to be able to stay behind a desk. I respect the people that do, because you got to have that to make pretty much any industry go. But I knew that I was going to have to be doing something where I'm interacting with people and really getting to help them. And what drove that home for me is when I was in high school, I played a lot of volleyball very competitively. I had the opportunity to travel, and I hurt myself senior year, and I needed a surgery. And I figured, okay, this is it. I'm not going to go play in college. Well, I came out of the surgery, and for the first time in my life, I had to go to physical therapy. And when I came out of physical therapy, I actually came out stronger than before I went in. And that's when I couldn't help but feel that I wanted to help other people experience that same exact thing. Because in a sense, I lost a little bit of hope, even though I was young. And going through that, I realized, even though this is a minor roadblock looking back on it, it really was what solidified me wanting to go on to PT school. So I said, okay, there's no other option, right? I mean, you need to have an idea of what you can do and what you want to do. And then you figure out how those two things merge, right? I mean, I would have loved to have been a professional volleyball player, but I can't jump high enough and I'm not strong enough. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I figured my love for people, wanting to help people get back to a quality of life is what really drove me. And not giving up, which the other two individuals have said was very important to me, because I got waitlisted. So both of the schools, I applied to 3 schools. I got waitlisted in 2 out of the 3 schools. I ended up picking one of them out of the 2 that did accept me after being waitlisted. And I remember when I went to graduate, and I say this just to drive home a point. My wife says it's because, Randy, you just want to humble brag. When I go to graduate, they actually gave out an award that the faculty voted on out of all the graduating seniors, who they thought was going to be what models PT the best. And I received the award. And when I went up to receive the award, the president of the school was standing there, and I looked at him and I said, "You waitlisted me." I said, "You almost didn't accept me, and I got this award." And he goes, "Well, I guess we have to relook at our admissions process." But my point to drive home is, if you are passionate about it, and if you really love it and you feel called, I use the word called to do it, do not give up. Regardless of what comes in front of you, if you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you have faculty like at Tulane that I had that was wonderful and fully supported me. I had, extra resources that also helped I wasn't going to look back. And just because I got waitlisted, I said, I'm sticking this out. I'm not going to do something different. This is what I want to do. And then, of course, people along the way that helped once I got into the profession, just making sure that I tried to accept jobs in places where people were like-minded in a good way, not closed-minded, right? To where they were really not going to be open to different things, but having a common passion and a common goal, so that way they helped me grow as a clinician as I was also kind of climbing the ladder to where I am now. So I think that answered the question. I kind of got lost somewhere in the middle.
Hey, it's funny you're telling your story about getting into PT school, and I think for those in the audience who are interested in PT school, it's very common that you have to try multiple times. You get waitlisted. I think I applied to like 8 schools and I got accepted to like my bottom 4, and I really wanted the top 4, and really didn't know what I was gonna do. And eventually my number 1 school picked me. And I was waitlisted, but they called me in for an interview, and the rest is history. So I think it's spot on, especially for these medical professions that fall within the kinesiology realm. It's highly competitive.
Yes.
They may have to look at their admission requirements. So I think you were spot on giving him feedback when you graduated. But I do think that, it's really tough to get into these fields, and, stick with it if it's your passion. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There should be nothing that stops you from seeking your passion, even a wonky admission process. So, all right.
To add on to that, Tyra. Yeah, I was just going to add on to that I actually am another one that did not initially get into one of the DPT programs. And so that's what led me to the PTA program. And I've really enjoyed that career. If PT is the route that you want to go, stick with that. But it's also been a very fulfilling career for me as well, and still allowed me to stay in that physical therapy realm that I've always desired.
Okay. Any advice you would give?
I would definitely echo a lot of the sentiments everyone else has said. And I would add, don't be afraid to venture outside of your comfort zone. Try new things, because when you try new things, you prepare yourself for that next role. So you may consider taking on new and difficult tasks that you aren't comfortable with, but that will help expand your skill set. So don't be afraid to try new things or step outside of your comfort zone. Always reach out, find mentors within your field that can help you grow professionally. That's been a big part of my career successes, is finding other people to look up to, making those connections. You never know how a person can add to your life professionally or personally. Your job that you have right now may be your for now job, but that doesn't mean that those connections that you make with those people there won't be there forever.
Very good feedback. I feel like I have family. They're not coworkers anymore. Like, they become family after you leave that place of work. If you really do lay down that good, foundational groundwork, you have family that you keep with you, throughout your career, and they know your kids, they know your parents, they know everything about you. And it's a really beautiful way to kind of go through life, picking up friends through work. So I definitely echo that. All right, so let's start with Megan for this question. What's the most interesting trend in your field?
Well, there's no surprise. We have been in a pandemic for the last year, right? So I would definitely say, for me, I've noticed the trend has definitely increased for online fitness. Online fitness has taken off this past year. It was already on the cusp of really taking off in a different direction, but I think because it's become such a necessity for people to have a connection to some form of fitness, it's definitely grown. Also, home workouts, home gyms are now back into a trend. And I say back because it did die for a while. I think there was a big push for a lot of these box gyms. They had the one penny sign up, and the $10 a month. I mean, and it's still appealing. Don't get me wrong. Like, whatever you do to get the membership, but the pandemic has definitely put people in a different headspace in terms of what is important. And they've noticed that fitness at the end of the day, no matter where you are and how you're doing it, it's important to do something to stay active and to definitely keep yourself going, because it's not only good for your physical health, but for your mental health. So that's definitely something I've noticed, even just within this last year. It's just home gyms are on the rise again, and then online fitness programs are definitely taking off.
All right. So I can still donate my funds to a gym. They'll still take my money, even though I
Yeah,
never show up there, right?
Yeah, they're taking money, but I would say like they're also making a lot of efforts for that same equipment to be accessible for home use. So it's getting competitive.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. All right, Victoria, what about for physical therapy?
I would say an interesting trend in the physical therapy field would be more and more therapists are approaching PT from a whole body perspective. I feel like the field is traditionally, on the physical aspects, injury and recovery, but there's a growing body of evidence about treating the whole person, the spiritual, their emotional needs, along with the physical. And I think that's become more and more evident that it's crucial to a patient's healing. So the topic of mental health has definitely played a huge role in our society, of course, during the last year or so over the pandemic. So holistic practices, like I said, treating the patient's whole mind, body, spirit, and the way physical therapy is kind of integrating that is introducing alternative treatments and spending more time with the patient, speaking with them, not just focusing on the physical side and working on manual techniques and exercise. So I think that's one of the biggest things that's a huge trend over the last few years for us.
Yeah, I think it kind of ties into some of the things that Megan was bringing up as well, like really looking at, what motivates individuals to do these activities that you want them to do for them to get better or for them to meet whatever their physical goals are. We can't leave the mind behind. So I think that's fantastic that, all of these fields are really coming together and really looking holistically at individuals. I think that's great. October, how about in your field? What are some trends that you're seeing?
I think consumerism and healthcare as a consumer versus a patient. So I think we as healthcare leaders have to shift, right? Like I used to just go check Yelp to see how the restaurant reviews were, right? Now you tell me to go to a new physician, a new facility, I'm like, Google, kind of, rate your professor, rate your doctor, who's there, who's coming. And I think that's a big trend in ensuring that the framework that we operate in from a healthcare standpoint, we need to provide still appropriate clinical care, but on that same token, it's not like you need us, just show up, right? Because I can come here, I can go to Turo, LCMC, whatever it is, I can make different choices. And I think that's a big trend. And then also how care is delivered. So obviously I don't want to wait. Like I'll share, there's a metric we look at. If there's a new patient, we want you to be seen within 7 days, period. Because we understand that if I tell you to come on day 8, you're going to call 4 other places that probably have as good of reviews as we have, right? They can see me tomorrow. I'm not waiting 7 days to go see both of these 4-star physicians. So I think how we deliver care is a change as well.
Right. So we can now Yelp our physicians. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure.
All
Real
right.
close.
And we can write reviews and everything. That might change the entire game. I'm just saying.
It has.
All right, Randy, from your point of view.
Yeah, so, to build on what October said, my biggest thing that I've noticed is direct access. So, as physical therapists, when we looked at the way the profession used to be set up, it was very much a secondary service. So if something was wrong with you, you didn't really get to choose where you went. You went to a doctor, and that medical doctor then he or she then decided if they were going to send you to physical therapy or not. And if they felt giving you medication, whether it's anti-inflammatories, giving you an injection, recommending a surgery, you basically did what they told you to do. So physical therapy for a long time was just kind of this service that was like, hey, can you send us some people? And what that has significantly changed to over time, to October's point, is with direct access and knowing that patients now by law, which it's crazy that it was this way for so long that they couldn't, by law, they can now come and see a physical therapist first if they feel that their medical condition is something that a physical therapist can diagnose and treat. So I would say the biggest trend that I've noticed with physical therapy, and I embrace it and enjoy it, I know it scares some clinicians, is I now have a lot of my patient load, to October's point, that come in and they go, listen, I had friends recommend you. I read about your facility online. I saw reviews, and basically I want to see you before I go see, in some cases, my doctor that's going to recommend I take these pills. I would rather try and fix this without medicinal intervention. So I think the other thing that I've noticed in my field, and I'm sure Megan notices this a lot as well, is this idea that patients are becoming more aware. We only have one body, right? While we're here. So it's our responsibility to take care of those bodies as best we can. And nobody is going to look out for our interest as well as we will. So the smarter we become at trying to be proactive in fitness programs, and then really seeking out those professionals that we feel can help us, I think that's the most exciting, I guess you'd say, on the horizon of PT. The area that's going to grow even more is we're becoming considered more of the non-surgical musculoskeletal experts if you have a musculoskeletal injury, and we can get you in and diagnose you and treat you quickly.
Love it. I love that tie-in, because those folks are headed to those fitness centers, recreational centers to try to ward off any issues. But if they have an issue, they can head over to Randy or Victoria and, recover, and then head back over to Megan. In October, you can just make sure they're happy, right? And deal with them if they're not happy. That's really what managers do, right? They deal with when they're unhappy.
October's making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I
think we can be a powerhouse right here. This entire group, right. We can have our own corporation right now. So, all right. So I'm gonna start off with Victoria for this question. Describe some of the challenges in your industry moving forward. So we talked about kind of what trends we see, but what are some of the challenges that you see?
I think one that comes to mind is just very pertinent with all the things going on right now, is ensuring we're considering and valuing the social determinants of health, or the environment, in which the patients are born, grow, live, and work when we're treating them. I think that's just a big thing that's happening across the healthcare spectrum right now, especially as the last couple of years we've had more serious conversations have been sparked about curating more diversity within the PT community. It's a well-documented fact that encouraging and supporting diversity within the workplace can be hugely beneficial for healthcare and businesses, because if you have a diverse workforce, they're more innovative, solve problems faster, and they make better decisions. And so that's no different than when it comes to treating our patients.
I have nothing to add to that. Amen. All right. Randy, your thoughts?
Yes. And can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm answering the.
Describe some of the greatest challenges that your industry faces going forward.
Yes. And once again, this is going to build on Victoria's point, which is spot on, is the services that individuals receive, unfortunately, but I understand, oftentimes revolve around accessibility and reimbursement. And every year, insurance companies want to cut reimbursements more, but you have more and more individuals that are taking, like we said earlier, their treatment into their own hands. So I think trying to balance that dynamic of, I got into this profession, and my associates and I have this discussion, not just to treat people that have money and that can afford it. I want to be able to treat anyone that needs my service that comes through my door. But at the same time, in order for me to keep the lights on and the doors open, there's got to be a certain level of financial recovery, right? So balancing those two things out where we can serve the entire population, right? Regardless of income level, gender, race, you name it. We need to be able to provide these services for anyone that needs them, but making sure that that can be done so that the profession can continue to grow from a clinician standpoint as well, right? Because and I'm sure everyone on this panel can agree, we went to school, you study hard, you work hard. And while we love what we do, you're not going to attract people to your profession if they know their reimbursements or their salaries are going to drop over time. That's a hard line reality that we have to deal with in any of these healthcare professions. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest challenges, that we face, is making sure, to Victoria's point, that we are servicing everyone in the communities, but that we can make it viable from all aspects. And that's difficult, at times it's very difficult.
So Randy, you bring up the word community, which makes me now think I want October to maybe build on that idea. And how do we address, not just physical therapy? I know that Victoria and Randy are representing PT, but really looking at the entire healthcare system. And I feel like your role and what you're doing within Ochsner may be helping us to address some of these issues.
Yeah.
You want to comment?
Sure. I think what excites me about my new opportunity is it hasn't been done before, not here with Ochsner. But I think you are absolutely correct. It's finding the balance. So some of the challenges are just what you said, right? The reimbursement in healthcare, definitely on the primary care side or clinic ambulatory side, going from fee for service to fee for value or quality. So it's not 42 more widgets, is the insurance company saying, for this diabetic widget, for Tyra, for the entire year, you get $10. How you spend it and how you care for her is what you get. And then at the end of the year, our goal is, how do we keep her healthy? We want to keep 5 of those dollars, right? Of the 10. So I think that is where the challenge and the balance will be, is not just a shift from the payers, but a shift in the physician mindset, right? Because in the past it was see more people, get paid more, see more people, get paid more. And now it's really like, give more quality care with maybe fewer people to maintain pay. So I think that's going to be a big shift as we transition in healthcare, specifically in the ambulatory setting. And to your point, Randy, serving the community, I would say one of the things I do get to do, so plug for New Orleans East, we take uninsured Medicaid patients, we take all insurance, but that is who our target is for, to ensure that we are providing care to those in the community who don't typically have it.
All right, thank you. All right, Megan, I think of recreation as, really embedded into communities. And I think where you are, you're embedded into the collegiate community. So it's still a community, just a very specific one. You have any comments kind of like, along these lines about community, but also, where the industry are some of the challenges that are facing the industry moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So while I definitely think that recreation as a whole has grown, and people have definitely grown to understand it. We've seen programs designed for people to actually go to school to study more on recreation. I think the important thing for us to kind of note is there's still a lot that people don't understand about recreation. So when they say, excuse me, my son is in the background. When you say recreation, you think, oh, this is sports, or this is, what is that, right? You don't even know what you mean when you say recreation sometimes. but people understand what fitness means. So I think for us, recreation is still this relatively new concept where it's a big umbrella and a lot of people don't understand what that means until they get to college, right? And I'm a prime example. I didn't know what campus recreation meant until I got to college. I didn't know that what I was doing playing pickup basketball was just recreation, right? And then me being on campus made it a campus recreation. So I think for a lot of people, especially being in my position, the goal is to still educate and to still bring awareness to what it means to be healthy and find avenues, whether that's outdoor adventures or whether that is club sports or whether that is joining a group fitness class or working with a personal trainer. This is all encompassing aspect of recreation, right? What does it mean to recreatively be actively involved in your physical lifestyle? Like, what does that look like, right? So that's, to me, a still relatively new concept, unfortunately. And so it's still something that even on Tulane's campus, we're working on a way to bring it to the forefront. You know, we're making a lot of intentional efforts to, I don't know, just collaborate with academic, affairs, because we are student affairs and we are kind of in a very niche department and very niche area. So we're trying to find ways to work with multicultural affairs and work with, different offices so that we can kind of tie in why we are important from a recreational standpoint. Because I think it's still fairly new and fairly, uncertain what that means. Hopefully that kind of gives you an understanding of the challenges. But yeah, that's some of the challenges in addition to, of course, social media kind of warping some, expectations of what fitness in general looks like. Everybody is apparently a fitness model on there after 2 workouts, or, they're a bona fide nutritionist, dietitian. They could give you a meal plan after, a couple of good, food picks. So it's very misleading sometimes. And I think that is another challenge that, from a more specific standpoint with fitness that we face is trying to still educate the true value of what you're doing and not doing it for the likes and doing it for the sweaty pics. So it's still a challenge in itself, but yeah.
Well, my attempt at being an Instagram influencer was a complete flop. So don't worry about me utilizing that platform for anything other than promoting happiness and pictures of my kids.
Yeah,
So,
and by all means, I love when people share their fitness journeys. I do love that aspect of the online community, and people use those as motivations and goals. You got body goals and all kinds of things, but I think a lot of times, people aren't as honest with their journey, or they're not as honest with the setbacks that come with still trying to figure out what it means to have that balance, and it can kind of, give people the wrong impression. That's all.
now I think across, health and wellness and fitness realms, I think we're all struggling with, what everyone sees online and in social media and kind of the reality of how you reach those goals in a healthy way. Because I think we are definitely professionals who approach those goals in a healthy way, which might take a lot more time than what they see online. So I think we're all kind of battling that, what's real and what's not real on social media. And by and large, I find myself debunking a lot of the things that patients come in with from social media and online. But that's what I'm here for, right? That's what we're all here to really kind of help people and help people kind of wade through all of that interesting information that's out there. All right, I want to ask you guys one more question, and then I want to open the chat box and the Q&A box for any questions from our attendees. But the last one is really, what's one piece of practical advice you would give someone starting out? And let's start with October.
One piece of practical advice I would give to someone is do not be afraid to fail. I think most of my wins, and as I've grown as a professional, have been, I've failed. Be afraid and do it anyway.
Yeah, what is that saying? You only lose the
Miss the shots.
You
The
miss
attempt.
100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm terrible at those things, but I always try. But you know
I'm
what I
assuming
love?
that's what you
Everybody's
wanted.
reading on social media. Somebody
Megan,
fills
did
it
I
in
get that
for me.
right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like that really encompasses what you're saying. All right, Megan, how about you?
I would definitely say,
Practical advice.
Hmm?
I'm sorry, one piece of practical advice you would give anyone in our group that would be starting out on any of these career paths or a career path like yours.
Absolutely. For me specifically, I would say, use your opportunity on campus and in your college career to really branch out and to, try the unknown, right? Lean into the unknown. Like I didn't know that me picking up a couple of dumbbells will lead to where I am now. I'll be honest. But I definitely led with the hope that this would go somewhere, right? And so I just led into the unknown. And that to me was a very important aspect of, again, staying open-minded and staying positive in regards that I knew I was going along some path that would bring some type of happiness and fulfillment. For me, I think there's always an opportunity to start small, make small changes, small goals, whether that's a personal goal or a professional goal. For me, it was a personal goal to start working out, but then it became a professional goal to help others. And then it became an even more professional and personal goal to see how I can educate others on ways that they can, start their path, take that passion that you have for working out and become a personal trainer. What's the worst thing that can happen? You work with somebody and they actually, achieve their goals, or they work out and they decide that they can work out by themselves. I don't know. There's really no way that you can possibly lose just by trying, or if you want to instruct a fitness class, if you want to work with, somebody on just dancing and loving the dance fitness class aspect. So there's, to me, no wrong way to start when it comes to finding some of those things that you do enjoy and finding a way that, again, like Randy said, how can you tie in what you enjoy and how you can pretty much get paid for it, right? Like what's the biggest connection? Like how can you, at the end of the day, support yourself while you're over here still helping others? So I think a lot of times people find fulfillment in the simplest things, and so start small, start off doing a few things that you enjoy doing, and then it will definitely come over time. The reward will.
So if you're having fun, it doesn't feel like work, right? Can't be work if you're having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Randy, what's one piece of practical advice you would give someone starting out?
Yeah. Well, two things really come to mind. I'm sorry, I can't just give one. Stay focused and be disciplined. One thing that I have noticed, and as you talk about social media, I'm a dinosaur. I have no social media, absolutely zero. Don't know how to navigate it. Don't want to check it. Don't care who's doing what on it. I probably should, but I don't. So I will tell you this, what I hear from other people that are on it, there are going to be plenty of people that are going to try and tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. It is your job to stay focused and stay disciplined on what it is you feel called to do. Because I would think the panel would agree that in all of our professions, it took discipline, it took focus, and it took work. And if we had listened to people that were going to say you couldn't or you should do something else, or you should chase money, or you should think about something different, please don't let that get into your head. You know who you are. You know what it is you feel like you want to do. Stay focused, stay disciplined, make it happen. And then your job becomes, as I like to say, a vocation. My job isn't an occupation. Yes, I do make a paycheck, but I've been doing it for 18 years and I love it. I truly enjoy going to work. People look at me like I'm crazy, but I enjoy going to work because it's more of a vocation for me than it is an occupation. So stay focused, stay disciplined, and you will be able to achieve what it is that you want within the healthcare profession.
Right, thank you. I feel energized. I'm not sure what else I need to achieve, but I'm doing it tomorrow. Thanks, Randy. All right, Victoria.
I would say if you're interested in physical therapy and you're out there applying to schools, when you're completing those observation hours, try as many different practice settings as you can. It'll not only help you gain insight into the clinical world, but it'll help you decide if this is really the career that you want. The other thing I would say is be tenacious. It seems like everyone on the panel has taken different routes to get to where we are today. It doesn't seem like any of us have had like a straight path to where we have ended up. We've all kind of thought we wanted to do one thing and ended up here, one place or another, but we remain steadfast to reach our goals.
All right, thank you. I feel very motivated. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat box. Lainey, are you able to unmute and share any questions that we have?
I'll unmute and leave my video off. There was one question that was posted. First of all, thank y'all very much. This is really exciting. It was great. I loved hearing all of your stories. This was really, really great. So thank you very much. There's one question for October, it says, but I guess anybody can answer this. It says, how can an integrated health coach fit in with what you are presently doing in your position? And I really want, talk about the health coach, because we get a lot of questions from our students about this notion of a health coach, the background that's required for it, and how it's integrated into healthcare.
So I think I started with my background is HR, and now I'm in operations. So this can be a tricky question. So I'll tell you what I believe a health coach is, but that title, even here, probably at Ochsner, because I know we have health coaches, probably means different things depending on the department. When I think of integrated health coach, for Vonnie, I'm assuming you mean someone that supports someone's overall health. So that's how I will respond to it. And I think in my current position, those are things that I'm exploring. So there's a position at my clinic now, our licensed clinical social worker who's partnered with a community health worker, and they kind of do the behavioral health side. Then I have someone with the exact same title, community health worker, but their role is the social determinants of health. And that's how I kind of see them as the integrated health coach. They're going to check to see how you are doing as a patient with food security, and are you safe at home, and do you have a place to live, and connect you to those resources. We're going to be partnering with our hypertension digital medicine team. So that person will be the expert in handing out the digital cuffs for those with high blood pressure, helping folks get the app downloaded to their phone. So to me, that's kind of where the integration is, as we understand that the social determinants and those other things on the outskirts can prevent people from staying healthy. And then obviously that's going to be a risk in the future as we age as a population, and we don't have enough healthcare practitioners probably in all of our fields to truly be able to care for what's coming in the future. So we are going to have to get people healthy.
Randy or Victoria or even Megan, have you guys had any interactions or worked with health coaches where you are?
At the clinic where I am, we don't have any health coaches, but I do know some of the other Ochsner therapy and wellness clinics have health coaches. And my understanding is they work in tandem with the therapist. Typically after a patient is discharged, they're kind of handed off to the health coach as a transition, I guess, to their recreational lifestyle, kind of as a bridge.
Okay, thanks.
We don't have any health coaches at our facility, but if I'm understanding what a health coach is based on what October and Victoria have kind of said, it would make sense that they would be in place, because I think in the medical profession, unfortunately, we can become like horses with blinders and we get very used to doing what it is that we do. And we get very focused on that. And then when we're done, we're like, okay, have a good life. Hopefully you don't have to come back in, right? I hope you're better. And then the patients kind of look at you like, okay, well, I feel like I need to do something else, right? So I could see how it would be important to have those people that would be able to connect some of those stages. And we try and do that when we discharge patients. we're making sure that we're kind of recommending different facilities where they may be able to go to continue, which I know Megan would know a ton about, but, you know, kind of getting them into those facilities and just saying, look, use us as a contact. When you come across an individual that's going to help you with your wellness, please have them call me and I will share with them the information that I have on how we treated you. But we don't have any health coaches specifically at the facility.
May I add one thing? I think you touched on something, Randy. I think the other advantage to the health coach is they come outside of your setting, right? So what I do in physical therapy versus what I do at home. Dr. Tyra Mitchell, I had an injury and she told me at one point when I was like, I don't want to do it like that. And she was like, so now you're a physical therapist? I was like, no. And I didn't take it well from her, but having a health coach probably that can translate this clinical stuff into understanding, okay, you have this at home. And to me, it doesn't matter if it's for physical therapy or recreation after an injury, or even after like my blood pressure is up. So I probably need to modify what exercises I'm doing and where I'm at. And I feel like that health coach can kind of be that bridge to connect where you're at in your setting into someone's actual home or their community.
All right, so we're drawing to the end. Megan, do you have something to add there?
I was just going to add, I do not have any health coaches that we have here at Riley, but I have noticed a trend with personal trainers kind of being put in the position to serve as health coaches, because part of the job of a personal trainer is to kind of get the full picture of what this person's health status is, not just from a physical standpoint, but when you work with a trainer, they're going to ask you questions about nutrition. They're going to ask you questions about your overall daily habits. And a lot of that does kind of stem from that similar kind of health coach appeal. So I've been noticing a lot of programs, especially that cater to personal trainers and fitness people in that regard. Fitness professionals have definitely carved out a health coach sort of, pocket for them. And then that's kind of one of those things that they add as like an extra certification or an extra notch under their belt. But I wouldn't say that that's their sole profession, so to speak.
Okay. All right. Well, Lainey, I want to check in with you. Are there any other questions from the attendees?
There are none in there. If there are any last minute questions that any of the attendees have, put it in the chat and we'll give those. We have about 2 minutes and I want to be mindful of people's time. But I'll say once again, this is a great panel. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to spend with us and with our students and sharing your knowledge and your experiences. I think that this is invaluable for our students to be able to hear this. So thank you all very, very much.
And
thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And Doc, if you don't mind, any students that are interested in PT, and I'm not sure if the other panelists have something similar where they work, but we have positions that are both volunteer and paid positions that you as a student can come into our facility and get firsthand exposure as to what physical therapy is like. So you would actually be able to help explain some of the exercises to patients, kind of help them go through some of the stuff with the PT and PTA's guidance, because we have 2 PTAs that work with us as well. So just understanding kind of how the whole system works. So if any of the students out there that are listening really think that they may be called to do PT, please don't hesitate to reach out to me as a fellow Tulane grad. I would love to be able to try and, help you guys as much as I can, just learn a little bit more about the profession and maybe get paid while you're doing it.
And
Any
those
other plugs out there?
There
I don't
you
have
go.
any paid positions, but I'm happy to do informational interviews or connect people if there's a different area. Well, Ochsner is a huge system. People have very different paths and work in all different departments. So I'm happy to connect anyone.
Megan, Victoria.
Yeah, same. I'm at Ochsner, and so like she said, there's you can come in and volunteer, and there's so many different departments and career paths, and you are free to volunteer within any of them. Ochsner has an entire volunteer department that will help guide you.
Yeah,
We don't have volunteer opportunities, but we do have paid opportunities. We do like to compensate for personal training. We have personal training that we're looking to increase over the next few months. So if you're interested, if you think that's something you may want to pursue, and come back in the fall and join us as a personal trainer. We don't have any in-house certification workshops, but you're definitely encouraged to get certified. We will definitely appreciate having student trainers who are, focused on kinesiology and going in that route. We would definitely want that kind of experience here for our clients. And then also group fitness instructors, or just any position, honestly, in recreation can get you going in that direction. And so feel free to always, check us out and see what we have available. But I'm always looking to hire, and there was some.
All right. Well, let me echo what Dr. Donier said, that I am absolutely thankful. I feel privileged. I feel energized to accomplish something tomorrow. By having this conversation with y'all, I appreciate you. And, I'll probably be bugging you again to do this sometime. So this was fantastic. I thank our students and our attendees for joining us tonight, and take care, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.